Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this very special webinar today. And I am pleased and excited to have Dr. El-Tarifi, Dr. Rua El-Tarifi, who is a program director in internal medicine at Beaumont Hospital. And in today's session, she will discuss all about interview preparation. Now, as you guys are getting ready to apply, the 28th September is upon us. You all must be thinking about the next and the most critical step, which is interview preparation. So she has graciously agreed to help you out and discuss what program directors look for, what should students be focusing on, and so on and so forth. So in this session, we'll talk about interview preparation, and welcome, Dr. El-Tarifi. Very glad to have you. So let's, without further ado, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, and then we'll kick it off.
Sure. First, thank you very much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So I am Rua El-Tarifi. For the right tongue, it's Rua El-Tarifi. I'm originally from Sudan. I know the American tongue can't do it right. I'm originally from Sudan, grew up in Sudan, graduated from University of Jazeera. I will always say with a smile, it's the top medical school in Sudan. I know people from University of Khartoum, like everywhere, have two most competitive universities that think they're the best, but University of Jazeera is the best medical school in Sudan. Sorry for other University of Khartoum graduates. I am a mom, a wife, and a teacher by heart, I will say. I did my residency in Oakwood Hospital, Dearborn, which is the same place I'm still working at now, which is Beaumont, Dearborn now. I graduated from there, hired as faculty right away, was then promoted to be the associate program director, and now the program director since 2016.
Thank you very much. And I apologize, my Southeast Asian tongue will butcher it, I know, because in our part of the world, it is, Urdu is slightly different. And but anyway, all well. So you are an IMG yourself. You've been in the IMG shoes and you understand the challenges that we all go through.
Absolutely. I am a proud IMG, I will say. I walk the walks of and struggle the struggles of all IMGs. And just to all of you out here today, you are here today, so be proud. You are here today applying.
Thank you. So let's get started about the interviewing tips. So of course, it is not only the day of the interview, but the preparation before that, that matters quite a bit. So why don't you give us some tips about preparing well for the interviews?
Okay, thank you. So in my eyes, the two most important things before the interview day is first, know your CV. Everything you put into that CV is a fair game for me to ask you as a program director. So know it very well. You will be surprised to know that there are a lot of people who say, oh, I did this presentation or I did this poster. And then when I ask them about it, they don't know much of it. So that tells me a lot about them. So know your CV. Every word you put in there, be prepared to be asked. The second thing is know the program that you're interviewed at. Go to their website, be a detective, go to their website, go online, know the panel that's in, you'll be given a list of the faculty or the chief residents and the program director names that you're going to be interviewed by. So know them, practice their names. Especially I can understand my name can be butchered, it's okay, but once before for a very common name, Dr. John, for example, I asked the candidate, I said, how is your interview day going so far? And he said, it was good. And I said, who interviewed you so far? And he said, the other guy.
Oh my God.
Yes. So know who you're interviewed by, practice their names, know the program. So when you ask silly questions, for example, what is your curriculum like? And it's on the website, that tells me you didn't do your homework.
Okay. So just to rephrase and summarize, know yourself and know the program, your PS, CV, and the program where you're interviewing. So that's a very good tip. Now let's come to the interview day. What should the students, and this is the virtual world, for the past 3 years. So how they can get ready, what should they be doing, how do they interact, all the tips that you can give us for the interview day.
Sure. So first, let's start with looks. So this is something everybody will tell you, dress professionally. You prepare for what you're going to wear for your whole season. During interview day, keep a smiley face, keep I'm interested look, stay engaged, and be respectful, okay? So that's throughout the day of the interview. I can't emphasize how being respectful and engaged throughout the day is important. Sometimes, when candidates come and they're interviewing with the faculty, they're giving that look, and then they sit outside, and I know it's virtual world now, but just with everybody that you're being interviewed by, stay at the same tone. That's the first thing. Second thing, which I will say, is first impressions last. So make your first impression a memorable, unique impression. I'll tell a little story. Back when I was interviewed, I remember at this same hospital, Oakwood, I liked the program so much and I was so nervous. And as we were walking out of morning report room, I fell on the floor. This was not intentional, I promise you, but I fell on the floor, and it's not the fall that, you can get up and save yourself. I fell way down, face down. And all I can think about now was I didn't want the program director to see me. So Dr. Zimmerman was my program director. He was walking in front of us. And as I fell, I'm just froze down there. And I was like, hopefully he doesn't see me. Please don't let Dr. Zimmerman see me. But of course, Dr. Zimmerman on that day was Mr. Flash. So he came back and he walked toward me and gave me his hand. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm done here. I do not remember our walk back to medical education where we're being interviewed at. And I remember sitting, and the girl next to me was like, "Are you okay, Rua?" And then the guy next to me was like, "Oh my God, that was quite a fall." And all I can think about in my head with my heart rate at 200 beats per minute was, I just hope everybody forgets about this. And I'm telling them, let's just forget about this moment that happened. Let's pretend it never happened. And as I'm saying that, Dr. Zimmerman, the program director, calls me for my interview. And I walk into his office, and the first thing he looks at me, he smiles and he goes, "Are you okay from that fall?" And I'm like, oh my God, he did not forget. He didn't get the memo from outside, I guess. And I guess he picked up on me being nervous. So he then with a laugh said, "Do you need a doctor?" So I laughed, and out of nowhere, this is not something you prepare for. Out of nowhere, I said, "Thank you, I don't need a doctor. And I won't need a lawyer if you give me a position here." And he just started laughing, right? And he then looked at me, he goes, "Okay, Smarty Pants, now I know who I'm dealing with. You're turning the tables around." So all my interview with him was about taking opportunities, being smart. So that's just a unique thing. I know you can't prepare for something like this, but be yourself, be unique, leave an impression. The third point that I wanted to make is be yourself. Please, we as a program want to love you as you, right? Don't try, sometimes you try to rehearse words and be mechanical, or you're rehearsing somebody else's words that are not a reflection of who you are. So don't over prepare to be so rehearsed and mechanical and rigid. Be yourself. The last point is to match the interviewer. Meaning, if you come and I am interviewing you and you're seeing me, telling stories and laughing and joking, laugh to my jokes, match me. If you find that I am so professional, like, "Hi, how are you doing today?" Match that. Don't be so laid back and be laughing throughout the interview, because then my impression of you is just kind of going to be a reflection of how you're interacting to how I am treating you. I say these points and I'm emphasizing all of them, but I know saying them is easy. The more important thing is practicing them. So find who you can practice with, somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who can give you honest feedback and correct your mistakes.
Thank you very much. And to our audience, a couple of housekeeping items. We will take questions after this, so maybe in 5 to 7 minutes, all your questions will be answered. And of course, I wanted to announce that Dr. Elderulfi has graciously agreed to help our students with mock interviews. So if you would be interested, let us know, and we can tell you the next steps. And my marketing team, Swati, is here as well, and she can send you the links. But thank you very much, Doctor. In fact, the concept of following the interviewer is very interesting, kind of mirroring the interviewer. But the challenge that we have heard a couple of times, the cultural challenge. So for example, many of our students may not be aware of college basketball or some of the very American, things. Then what do you recommend? How do they still connect with the interviewer?
So for me as an interviewer, I won't ask about college basketball unless they put it in their hobbies that they like it, right? So don't put it if it's not something you understand. And There's no reason for me to ask you that. If they tell me, for example, they read books, I will ask them, what is the last book you read? And I might have a conversation. They might say, I like the book Blink, and I love the book Blink. So that's an opportunity for me to discuss that book. So don't put something you're not interested in. Nobody will ask you about something you didn't mention. No reason for an interviewer to ask you, what's your favorite team, if you didn't mention you like sports.